Hey everyone, I'm back and today we're going through my entire Blu-ray collection video, and how we're going to do this is we're going to go through TV show Blu-rays, movie Blu-rays, and then we're going to go through my Criterion Blu-rays and then 4K Blu-rays. And everyone organizes their collections differently and has their own way of doing everything. Some people organize them a bit more than I would, like separating slipcovers, movies with slipcovers, or steelbooks. And I just felt as though it would be a good idea to explain how I organize everything. So without further ado, let's get started. First off, we have Bates Motel Blu-ray, Season 2. The only season that I enjoyed. The rest of it is just not for me. And even Season 2 wasn't great. It was at least a bit better than the rest of it. Then we got Better Call Saul Season 4 and Season 6. I haven't seen Season 6 yet. I just got this, and I'm looking forward to Season 6, and the rest of the show I have on DVD. Next up, Cowboy Bebop. Never seen it. Apparently it's good. Then we got Death Note on Blu-ray. I was going through the show and planning on reviewing it, and then kind of got interrupted, but I'll get back to it shortly. And I'm on episode like 24. I'm really enjoying it, and I've seen it before, and I'm just revisiting it just to see how it holds up on a second viewing. Then we got Season 1 of The Flash. I've seen this once a long time ago, and have never seen it since. Now this is going to be a weird one. We got George Carlin Collection, and the only reason I'm showing this off is because most of these are DVDs, but there's one disc that's a Blu-ray, which is kind of weird. And I thought now would be as good as time as any to just show this off. So technically it counts as a Blu-ray. Who knows? I'll let you decide, but you're just really going to complain that I showed off one other thing that I have. The Haunting of Hill House. I watched the first 3 episodes and they were fine. I might finish it one day, but we'll see what happens. Lost in Space Season 1. I haven't seen it yet. I've had it for a few years, and I just never got around to it. And same thing with this. Stranger Things Season 1. Haven't seen it yet, but I will get to it eventually. Alright, now going on to movies, and these are all organized alphabetically. So starting off with numbers, 12 Angry Men. Classic movie, really love it. We got 2001: A Space Odyssey, a classic movie that I feel as though everyone should see. Airplane. Fun movie, I really enjoyed it. Great jokes, and overall it was just really fun. Alright, we got an Alfred Hitchcock collection. And this came with Dial M for Murder, North by Northwest, and Strangers on a Train. And these are all movies that I thoroughly enjoyed, and I would highly recommend that you check them out. Now at this point in the video, you might have noticed a fan sound, and unfortunately for the rest of the video, you will be hearing that. And I have tried to get rid of it, but unfortunately there's not much I can do about it. I've tried. I'm so sorry. So what you're going to have to put up with for the rest of the video is a very irritating fan sound in the background. So sorry about if the fan is distracting to you, but this is the best that I could do, and I'm very sorry for what happened here. Next up, we got Aliens and Prometheus. But the reason why I don't have the first Alien on Blu-ray is because I have it on 4K, and we'll get to those later. Aliens, great movie. I do prefer the first one over the sequel, but still a great movie overall, and I do prefer the theatrical cut over the special edition. And Prometheus, a lot of people don't really like Prometheus. I liked it, and I don't know, I guess it just didn't show off xenomorphs or something. It was kind of just doing its own thing, and a lot of people just find it weird and boring. That wasn't my experience while watching it. I thought it was really entertaining. Alright, double feature. American History X and A History of Violence. I don't love American History X. I think it's decent, but A History of Violence I do love, and I'm more quickly to rewatch A History of Violence over American History X. I don't think I'll ever rewatch American History X again, even though I like it and I gave it a positive review. It just didn't connect with me on a second watch as much as it did on my first viewing. We got American Made, fun movie. I enjoyed it. Not great. It has its flaws, but it's still good. American Psycho, classic movie. Really great. Character study, horror, comedy. All of that is great, and if you haven't seen this movie, I would highly recommend it. We got Annihilation. Really good movie that I enjoyed. Probably my favorite movie from Alex Garland. I haven't seen Men yet, but this and Ex Machina I enjoyed thoroughly. And Annihilation got better on multiple viewings, whereas Ex Machina kind of got worse. But anyways, moving on. Next up we have Arrival. Really great movie from Denis Villeneuve. Not my personal favorite, but still great overall. We got the Austin Powers trilogy. Really funny movies. I really like the first two. Third one I can live without. We got James Cameron's Avatar. Pretty good movie after all these years, and I haven't seen the sequel, The Way of Water, yet. I'll get to it eventually, but I rewatched it not too long ago, like a year ago, and I do think it holds up for the most part, and it's still good. We got The Aviator, solid movie from Martin Scorsese. The Banshees of Inisherin, really great dark comedy. Great characters, performances are amazing. I love Colin Farrell in it, Brendan Gleeson. Really great acting overall, and a really great story, and just really well made overall. We got Batman 4 movie pack. The first two, Batman and Batman Returns, I like. The Joel Schumacher directed ones I don't like. We got Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. A lot of people don't seem to like this movie that much, and they just complain about how it's dated and it doesn't really hold up anymore. I kind of love this movie. I don't think it's perfect. It's one of his weaker ones for me. But in terms of what it's trying to do and everything that it has to offer, I do think it's great. And even though the effects aren't great anymore, and the birds don't look as convincing as they probably would have in 1962, there's still a lot that I love about it. I love the characters, the performances, and when the birds are practical, like real birds, then it looks great, and it's kind of like a zombie apocalypse movie before zombie movies became a thing. We got Black Swan, one of my favorite movies ever, my favorite movie from Darren Aronofsky. I could rewatch this movie right now, and it would be a wild experience. And if you've never seen any movie from Darren Aronofsky, I wouldn't recommend starting with this one, because there are points where it does get a little out there. I would recommend something like The Wrestler before watching this movie, or maybe Requiem for a Dream, and then watch Black Swan, so you kind of get an idea of what to expect from this director. Next up we got Blair Witch, directed by Adam Wingard. The only reason I have this movie is because it's the first movie I ever reviewed on my channel, and I kind of just wanted to have it just to say, like, this is where I started off, basically. If this movie didn't exist, then my channel would not exist. That's how I kind of view it. It's not good, and I'm probably never going to watch it, or at least not until this movie becomes 10 years old, which is roughly a little less than 4 years from now. When that happens, I'll rewatch the movie and let you know how I feel when that happens. But until then, it's fine. I remember it being okay, but I don't really remember a whole lot. We got Bodies, 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 a fun horror movie that I enjoyed. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Bruno, hilarious movie. Sacha Baron Cohen, great performance and just really great at pranking people, great satire. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Captain America the Winter Soldier, a movie I haven't seen since it came out in theaters. And I'm kind of just... The only reason I haven't reviewed this movie yet is because I haven't reviewed the first Avenger yet. Captain America the First Avenger. Then I'll get around to Winter Soldier. Charlie Brown Christmas, classic movie. Or classic movie short, don't need to say much about it. Citizen Kane, classic as well. The Conjuring, solid horror movie. I liked Saw better than this in James Wan's filmography. I think Saw was a better movie than this. But I still like it, and it's probably the only other horror movie I've seen from James Wan that I like, other than The Conjuring 2. That one I liked as well. We got Coraline from Henry Selick, the director of The Nightmare Before Christmas, and I really love this movie. If you haven't seen this, check it out. Next up, we got a 3-pack. We got Devil's Advocate, Insomnia, and Seven. And I just organized this whichever came first alphabetically, and that was Devil's Advocate. And Devil's Advocate was hilariously bad. But the other two that came with this, I really love. I love Seven. I love Insomnia. And Insomnia is one of my favorite Nolan movies. I haven't seen it, rewatched it in a while. And Seven is just a really great Fincher movie. So, check out Insomnia and Seven, but skip Devil's Advocate, because it's not good. We got The Dictator. It's alright. It's decent. I don't know if I'll ever watch it again. I might one day. We got Django Unchained. Pretty good Tarantino movie. Not one of my favorites. There's plenty of others in his filmography that I prefer, but this one is pretty good. Dr. Sleep, the sequel to The Shining, it's fine. My mom really likes it, so that's why I have it. Don't Breathe, it's alright. I can watch this again. I haven't seen the sequel, and I don't really want to watch that. Dr. Strangelove, really funny Kubrick movie. I need to see it again, honestly. I've kind of just been letting it sit, and I do like it a lot, and I just would love to revisit it at some point. Next up, we got Dread, a solid action movie that's a bit like Die Hard. A lot of people really love this movie and are just demanding a sequel to be made. And I do like the movie overall. I'm not in love with it. Sorry, everyone. But I'm not opposed to a sequel being made. So, for those of you who are wanting a sequel, I'm on your side. I'm not going to go against you. And I would like to see more from this universe. Next up is Dune, or Dune Part 1, whatever you want to call it. Everyone knows that it was split into 2 parts intentionally. And I thought it was good. I don't love it. I need to rewatch this movie, and I would really love to see this movie and Dune Part 2 back to back, kind of like Kill Bill, and just to see how it would hold up and how it would play out. Dunkirk. Really great Nolan movie. One of his best, I would say. And it's not one of the most rewatchable Nolan movies. It's kind of a movie where the first watch is the best experience, and I saw it twice in theaters, and it was a really great experience, and I haven't seen it since then, but in my mind it's aging well. There's nothing about it that, if I were to revisit this movie, that I feel as though would age poorly. Next up, we got M. Night Shyamalan's Israel 177 trilogy. This came with Unbreakable, Split, and Glass. Unbreakable and Split, I think, are really good. Glass, not so much. I can live without Glass. Edge of Tomorrow, or Live, Die, Repeat, I go with Edge of Tomorrow. Fun action movie. We could have a sequel, I guess. I'm not opposed to it. I just didn't connect with the movie as much as a lot of people did. Edward Scissorhands. Fun Tim Burton movie. Not one of my favorites from him, but I can rewatch it. 8th Grade, a movie I haven't seen since it came out. I saw it once, thought it was great, and I need to revisit it. Escape from New York, fun action movie from John Carpenter. Everything Everywhere All at Once. Amazing movie, really great, probably my favorite from 2022. But with that being said, I haven't seen a lot of movies from 2022 at this point. And I would like to get to them. And I'm sure there's plenty of movies from that year that I've missed that are great. Eye in the Sky, really good movie from 2016. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Stanley Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut, classic. I really love it. I need to see it again, but from just one viewing, I really loved it. And it's probably my favorite Christmas movie. Fargo. Coen Brothers, really good movie from them. We got The Favorite, really great movie from Yorgos Lanthimos. And I would recommend just about everything that he's directed. This movie, Killing of a Sacred Deer, and The Lobster. I don't own Killing of a Sacred Deer or The Lobster on Blu Ray yet. I just haven't gotten around to that. I would say that all three of those movies are at least worth checking out. Fight Club, David Fincher. One of his best, and I don't need to say much about it, because it's basically been talked about to death. Damien Chazelle's First Man. I consider this movie to be somewhat underrated. A lot of people say that, it's not nowhere near as good as Whiplash or La La Land, and I would agree with that, but I still love the movie and everything it was trying to do, everything it had to offer. I don't really care that our main character, Neil Armstrong, was just really bland and didn't really have much to him, but I felt as though there was a lot that was going on in this movie that really had me hooked, and I really enjoyed the music, and it was very technically well made. And I remember when this movie was announced, or at least when I first checked on IMDb, what was he doing next, and it was First Man, and I was like, what does that mean? The first man to be ever born on Earth? But nope, it's talking about the moon landing. We got The Fog and The Howling, Scream Queen double feature. And I think The Fog is a pretty solid horror movie. The Howling I'm not fond of. I don't really care for it at all. Forrest Gump, classic movie. Don't need to say much about it. Tom Hanks is great. And it's very well shot. Everything's good. Stanley Kubrick's Full Metal Jacket. Not one of my favorite Kubrick movies, but I still love it. I know that might be a bit controversial, but that's how I feel, and there's just other Kubrick movies I like a lot more. Get Out. Really good horror movie, and I like it better than Us. I haven't seen Nope yet, but I'll get around to it one day. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo from 2011 might be my favorite Fincher movie. Gone Girl. Another really great David Fincher movie. Great performances, really great story, and everything's good. Goodfellas, a classic movie that I don't need to say much about. Grand Budapest Hotel, Wes Anderson, one of my favorites. Might be my second favorite. We'll get into my number one favorite in just a bit, but this one, really, really well shot, really great performances, really fun characters. I love the way everything is presented in this movie for the most part, and it's just a really great movie overall. The Greatest Showman, I'm not really a fan of this movie. My mom really likes it though, so that's why I have it. Okay, we got a double feature, Halloween and Halloween, the original and the 2018 film. The original, it's a classic, and don't need to say much about it. The 2018 version, it was okay. I liked it when it first came out, then I saw it for a second time, and I didn't really care for it the second time. But after watching Halloween Ends, I had some newfound appreciation for it. So I'm okay owning this, and it having both movies in it. And we have another copy of Halloween 2018. Now you might be wondering why I still have this, even though I have this. And I always explain this every time, but I bought this first, and then I got this other one as a gift. And the only reason I still hold on to it is because, you know, everything looks fine. You open it up, everything looks fine. DVD, Blu Ray. But the one thing that I like is that, I don't know how well you can see this, everything here looks to be okay, but then you slowly go down, and slowly everything, all the text just looks kind of blurry, which I find to be kind of funny. So that's the only reason I'm holding on to this Blu-ray, is just for that reason. I think that's really funny. High Life, pretty interesting movie that I'll see again, and really great performance from Robert Pattinson, and there's flaws within it for sure, but I'm willing to come back to it again. How the Grinch Stole Christmas, classic, don't need to say much about it. I really enjoyed it, and you should just watch it. If Beale Street Could Talk, it's decent. I don't know, I could probably sell it someday. I'll give it one more watch, and if I don't care for it that much, after I see it again, then I'll probably just sell it. In Bruges, Martin McDonagh. Hilarious dark comedy, really great performances, great characters, and it's just a really great movie that I feel as though everyone will enjoy. Inglourious Bastards, controversial opinion, but I'm not the biggest fan of this movie. I would say it's overrated, but I do understand why people like it. I understand what there is to like about this movie, and a bit of history with this movie for me. And the first time I watched it, I was expecting something to be more like Hateful Eight, or just a bit more straightforward, like an action movie or something like that. And for those who are wondering why Hateful Eight of all movies, well, that was the first Tarantino movie I ever saw, was The Hateful Eight, and that's one of my favorite Tarantino movies. And I don't have it on Blu-ray, because I just kept forgetting to get it. But anyways, a little off topic. The first time I watched it, I was expecting it to be a much different movie than it actually was, and because of that, I actually didn't like it. And some time passed, and then I came back to it, and I liked it a bit better, and I've seen it 4 times now, and at this point, I like it. I have a lot of issues with it, but by the end of the day, I can say that I like this movie. And it's my least favorite Tarantino movie that I'm willing to rewatch. And to make this perfectly clear, there's only one Tarantino movie that he directed that I'm not willing to rewatch. And it's not Death Proof, but we'll get into that in just a bit. It Comes at Night, really great movie from Trey Edward Schultz, great performances, great concept. It's basically a COVID movie in many ways. Moving on, It Follows, really good horror movie. And if you haven't seen it, then check it out. Jackie Brown, another Quentin Tarantino movie. And this is the only Tarantino movie that I'm not really willing to rewatch. I'll come back to it again someday, but it's the most boring Tarantino movie in my opinion. And because of that, it does make it kind of hard for me to convince myself to go back to Jackie Brown. Even though there are things that I really like about it, it's just, as a whole, I don't connect with it as much. Joker. Good movie. I liked it. Not one of my favorite movies of 2019, but it was still good. We got Jurassic Park, a classic movie. If you haven't seen Jurassic Park, watch Jurassic Park. And it might be my favorite Steven Spielberg movie, honestly. Next we have The Lost World Jurassic Park, which I think is better than all the Jurassic Park sequels. I think this is the best one, and it's not great. There are many flaws with it, but I liked it. Overall, I think it's good. And then we have Jurassic World. It's okay. There are some fun parts to it, but it doesn't really hold up as well as the other two that I just mentioned. And Jurassic Park 3, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, and Jurassic World Dominion, those three movies you can skip and they're not even worth watching. Next up we have Kick-Ass, fun movie. I need to see this again at some point. I've only seen it once, but I remember it being fun. Kill Bill, my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie. So much fun for me, 4 hours long, and it's just a blast for me to watch. La La Land, Damien Chazelle. I have not seen this movie since it came out in theaters, and I will get back to it someday. And then we got the Lego Batman movie and the Lego Movie 2. I do not own Lego Movie 1 on Blu Ray, unfortunately, but I do own Lego Batman and Lego Movie 2. I love the original Lego movie. I just keep forgetting to get that on Blu Ray. I'll get to it someday, but for now, I have those two movies on Blu Ray, and those two I enjoyed. They're not great, they're not masterpieces, but they're fun. The Lighthouse, one of my favorite movies ever. If you haven't seen this movie, watch it. The Lion King. Amazing Disney movie, Disney animated movie. One of their best, if not their best, and check it out if you haven't seen it. Stanley Kubrick's Lolita. Love this movie so much, and just about everything about it is perfect. And if you haven't seen it yet, then watch it. We got Lord of the Rings trilogy. Love these movies so much. I would say the first one is my favorite, then Return of the King, and then Two Towers would be my least favorite. The Man with No Name trilogy. Fun movies. I've only seen them once, and that was a bit ago, and I've seen a lot of movies since, so I can't really say too much because they're not like ingrained in my brain. Matrix trilogy. I love the first one. Second one's decent. Third one's okay. Fourth one I skipped, and I don't really want to watch that one. Next up we have Midsommar from Ari Aster, and it's a pretty good movie. I need to see it again. I've only seen it once. Mission Impossible 5 movie collection. The first one's good. Same thing with 4, 5, and 6. I don't own 6 because I didn't realize I didn't own that on Blu-ray. And 2 and 3 are the only two Mission Impossible movies I don't like. I'm excited for 7. Moonrise Kingdom, my favorite Wes Anderson movie. And I just love everything that's in it for the most part. The Nightmare Before Christmas, classic movie. Don't need to say much about it. Night of the Living Dead, classic movie. I think it was like the first zombie movie ever made. I could be wrong. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, really great Tarantino movie, one of my favorites from him. Parasite, really great movie. Not my favorite movie from 2019, but I'm not upset at all that it won Best Picture. The Princess Bride, fun movie. Check it out. It's funny, really good performances, and Prisoners, Denis Villeneuve. Might be my favorite movie from him. Either that or Blade Runner 2049, which I need to rewatch someday. Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, classic movie. Don't need to say much about it. Pretty sure everyone knows what it is, and I really love it. Reservoir Dogs, really good Tarantino movie. I love it. And I think it was like his first breakout movie. I haven't seen like his first short film, My Best Friend's Birthday, yet, but I'm not really interested in watching that. Rocky Collection from 1 through 6. I really love the first two. Second one's decent. Fourth one, I enjoyed half of it. Second half is hilariously bad. Third one was really bad. And 6 was okay. And Creed 1 and 2 are great. And I'm excited for Creed 3. Saw 8 movie collection. I think the first one is pretty good. And the second one is okay. And then after that point, it just becomes funny bad. And some are funnier than others. Some of them are kind of boring and irritating to get through. But if you want to watch some funny bad movies, then I would recommend the Saw movies. Right, we have the Scream 3 movie collection. Scream 1, 2, and 3. And Scream 1, the first time I watched it, I actually didn't like it. And I just found the satire element to be really annoying. And then some time passed and I watched Scream 2. And I liked Scream 2, believe it or not. And I just enjoyed that it was less trying to be like a satire and more just trying to be its own thing. And I found it scarier. And then eventually I bought this to revisit these movies. And at this point, I like the first movie. I think it's very good. And if I were to see it again, I would probably get more out of it. And Scream 2, I love Scream 2 at this point, and I think it's better than Scream 1. I know not a lot of people would say that, but I love Scream 2. Scream 3 is okay, and I don't know. I'll probably never rewatch Scream 3. It was fine, but there's no real reason for me to go back to it. And Scream 4 I like, I just don't have on Blu-ray or Scruff Forum. Scream from 2022, or 5 Cream as some might want to call it. I'm not really a fan of the 5th one. I kind of just have it because I want to complete the set, or sorry, the whole collection of Scream movies, and that's the only reason why I'm holding on to it. Otherwise, I would sell it, and I'm looking forward to what this franchise has to offer next, with Scream 6 coming out. The Shape of Water, Guillermo del Toro. Really love this movie. Great creature effects, and there isn't really much bad to it. It's just a really great movie, in my opinion. Sicario, my least favorite movie from Denis Villeneuve, other than Dune Part 1. But this is still really good. And check it out if you haven't seen it yet. Spectre, the only James Bond movie I have on Blu-ray. And it's decent. I could watch it again. I don't love it as much as Casino Royale or Skyfall, but there's good action in it, and it has its moments, and I could watch Spectre again, which is more than I can say for Quantum of Solace. Spirited Away, I've seen it twice now, and I really enjoyed it. And I don't really have a whole lot to say about it at the moment, because it's not really fresh in my mind at the moment. Next up we got Star Trek Into Darkness and Star Trek Beyond. Don't ask why I have Star Trek Into Darkness. I don't think it's very good, but Star Trek Beyond I do like, and the first Star Trek movie in the Calvin timeline, I like it just fine. It's not amazing, but it does everything that it has to, and it's an okay movie by the end of the day. We got the Star Wars prequel trilogy, and we have the original trilogy. I like Star Wars, but I don't know if I want to keep watching after everything that I've seen. I kind of like The Mandalorian, but I just don't feel as though this franchise has much to offer me anymore. Alright, we got The Death of Superman, but this thing came with Superman Doomsday on both DVD and Blu-ray, and that's why I have it right here. And Superman Doomsday, it's fine. And I gave this a read, and the whole Death of Superman storyline, like, it's fine. I'm not upset that I read through it, but I'm probably not gonna go through it again, and Superman Doomsday I'll probably never see again. Suspiria, 2018, directed by Luca Guadagnino, and this is my favorite horror movie ever. Even though it's not perfect, I just really love everything that's in it and everything that it's going for stylistically, and it has really great performances, really great scares, and it gives me everything that I'm looking for in a horror movie and also an art film. Tenet, Christopher Nolan. Surprisingly enough, I did not like this movie the first time I watched it, but then I decided to buy this to give it a second chance, and I really enjoyed it. I wouldn't say it's great or a masterpiece, but it's a fun action movie, and it has a fun time travel element to it, and overall I think it's pretty good. 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Really great movie from Martin McDonagh, and I would say that's my favorite movie from him. And I've seen this movie, I think, multiple times, and I think I saw it like at least twice in... No, I saw it 3 times in theaters. And I just really loved the experience that it offered. It's a dark comedy, and the comedy elements are very funny, and whenever it's trying to be serious, it works very well. It has really great characters, really great writing as well, and there's barely anything wrong with it. James Cameron's Titanic, a movie that I really love. It's not one of my favorites, but I think it's great, and I think it's better than Avatar, and I like it about as much as Aliens, honestly. We got Toy Story, we have Toy Story 2, and Toy Story 3. All movies that I thoroughly enjoyed. I really loved the first 2, third one's decent, fourth one didn't even bother with. The Trouble with Harry, Alfred Hitchcock, and this is his attempt to make a comedy and not a horror movie, and I think it's very funny. So check out The Trouble with Harry if you haven't seen it yet, and I think you'll really enjoy it. Uncut Gems, Safdie Brothers. Okay, now you can see the title. Really love this movie. I like Good Time better, but I do think it's a really great movie, and everything that it's going for is great. I love the performances. Adam Sandler's really good in it, and it has a really great style, and the story I was really engaged throughout, and it's an overall really great movie. Under the Skin. I like the second half of this movie better than the first half. The first half of this movie was decent, but I really love the second half, and I just find what it explores in the second half to be a lot more engaging, personally. Waves, my favorite movie from Trey Edward Schultz, even though I've only seen 2 movies from him. This would be my favorite out of the 2, and I think it's a very powerful drama. There's just a lot that I really love about it, and the story is great, and there just isn't much else for me to say about it. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? It's a decent movie that I could watch again at some point. Widows. Saw it once. I remember liking it, and I need to see it again at some point. The Wolf of Wall Street. A movie that a lot of people know at this point, and it's very well known, and there isn't really much I can say about it that hasn't been said already. It's very quotable as well. And then lastly, we got, before we get into Criterions and 4K Blu-rays, we have Wonder Woman. A movie that I saw twice in theaters. I enjoyed it, but I don't know if I'm ever going to see this again. I feel as though if I were to watch it again, I might just give it and sell it, because why would I hang on to it when I don't love it? Really. Now we're moving into Criterion Blu-rays, and I only got 5 here, so this shouldn't take too long. First off, we got Stanley Kubrick's Barry Lyndon, my favorite movie ever. And it's a 3-hour long period piece and it sounds boring just by that alone, but I love the characters, I love the writing, the cinematography, and everything that I was going for. The music is really great as well, and everything going into this movie I absolutely love, and anything that's wrong with it, which is like one tiny little thing, and that being like there's one punch in the movie that doesn't look all that real. But aside from one punch not looking all that real, I don't have any other issues with this movie. And I rewatched it not too long ago, and I was still blown away with how much went into it, and I just really love it so much. And there isn't really much else that I can say about it without spoiling it at this point, so if you haven't seen Barry Lyndon, watch Barry Lyndon. David Lynch's Eraserhead. I really love this movie as well. Really crazy, really out there, and if it looks like a movie for you, then check it out. Fantastic Mr. Fox, Wes Anderson, really loved it. Great animation, great characters, performances, really great comedy, and it has a really great presentation visually speaking, and check it out if you haven't seen it yet. Paths of Glory, amazing Kubrick movie, one of his best. And lastly, we have Rosemary's Baby, directed by Roman Polanski. And this thing is out of print, or the Criterion Blu Ray is, at least. And last I checked it, people are asking for like $200 for it. So, but anyways, Rosemary's Baby, it's a classic. Don't need to say much about it. Alright, lastly, we're going into 4K Blu-rays. And I don't have too many of them, so this shouldn't take long. We got Alien, the original Alien. One of Ridley Scott's best movies. Check out Alien if you haven't seen it. We got Apocalypse Now, my favorite war movie ever made. Next up we have The Batman. Solid superhero movie. Really enjoyed it. And I would be willing to see it again. Die Hard 4K. Really good movie. Not my favorite Christmas movie ever, but still good. Evil Dead 2. Now you might be wondering why I don't have the first Evil Dead on Blu-ray or 4K. That's because it was George Lucas and they messed with it, and it's just not the same movie on any other format except DVD. And I do own it on DVD because that's the untouched version where they didn't mess with it to the point where it's no longer the same movie. But Evil Dead 2 I really like. It blends horror and comedy together, and it's just a lot of fun for me. Ex Machina. Really good movie. And it's not amazing, not perfect, but still good by the end of the day. Next we have The Godfather on 4K, as well as The Godfather Part 2. And I really love the first Godfather. It's a classic, almost a perfect movie. Part 2, I don't love. I like Part 2, but it just doesn't connect with me nearly as much as the first one does. And Part 3, I don't own because it's not good at all. Hell or High Water, really good heist movie that I really enjoyed. Next we have Interstellar, and although this is in a DVD case, it is a 4K Blu-ray, and it also comes with the regular Blu-ray. And it's just one of those weird movies that Walmart was selling that I decided, you know what, I'll get Interstellar on 4K, because why not? Next we have The Invisible Man. Alright. Next we have Pulp Fiction, one of Tarantino's best movies. I really love Pulp Fiction. Next we have First Blood and Rambo, the fourth one. I don't own 2 or 3, and I don't know why I don't own those, because I haven't seen those in a while, and I remember liking First Blood, and that's why I got it, and Rambo I also remembered liking, and they were the only Rambo movies that I could remember anything about. and that's why I got them. And 2 and 3 I just didn't remember much about, so I just skipped those. Next up we have Requiem for a Dream from Darren Aronofsky. Really great movie from him, one of my favorites. Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, an amazing horror movie, one of Kubrick's best movies as well. And if you haven't seen The Shining, watch The Shining. And lastly, we have Spartacus, my most viewed video on YouTube as of recording this. And when I first saw this movie, I was so hyped and excited and just really happy that I have a new Stanley Kubrick movie, and immediately I just gave it a 10 out of 10, but as time went by, it kind of didn't really age for me as well, like in my mind, and I decided to revisit the film, and watching it again, I don't feel as though it's a 10 out of 10 movie anymore. I think it's probably going to be like a 7, somewhere in there. Just a quick update for those who are wondering. So I still like this movie by the end of the day, but it does show that Kubrick didn't really have a lot of creative control over it. And that is my entire Blu-ray collection as of now. And I didn't realize how many I actually owned, and as I was like building these in like towers basically, or mountains, I started to realize I own a lot of movies on Blu-ray. And there are still plenty of others that I would love to get, because I'm a collector, and every year I would like to show off my collection to show you what I got, how much it's grown, and at that point, 1 year from now, roughly, I will do my next Blu-ray collection video, just to show you off what I got, and it's just going to be longer and longer, and it feels though it's going to be a lot of fun to do these, so thank you for watching my videos as always, and I really do hope that you enjoyed this video, and the main reason why I do these is because it's kind of like a thank you for watching my videos, really. It's like, this is everything that I have. It's like the most I could have to offer, like a big, gigantic video for you to see. It's not like an anniversary video, even though I do have done those before. This is also a show off of everything that I have now. And also one other thing, the reason why I do my collections at the beginning of the year is because it comes after Christmas, and that's a point in time where I'm expecting to get like more movies on Blu-ray, so that's why I delay it a bit. But if you enjoyed this gigantic Blu-ray collection video, and it's just going to get bigger and bigger as time goes on, leave a like down below and comment what you thought of it. And once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you when I get my next review up, and that movie is going to be for Dolomite Is My Name, so look forward to that. But until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.